And welcome to another episode of Down the Blocks with Chris Young, who brings it strong as he did as a number 45, the pivot man for the Michigan Wolverines, late 90s, early 2000s out of Detroit Catholic Central. The Shamrocks, if I'm not mistaken, the Shamrocks turned Wolverines. And boy, we got a lot to talk about this Michigan basketball team. And what I like about you, Chris, is, you're a former player. You love the Wolverines. You love everything about your alma mater and all the teams and everything. But you bring it. You don't sugarcoat things. You don't at all.
Nope.
And so I'm in the plane. I'm coming back from Vegas, and I watched the first. Let's start with the Michigan State game, and then I saw a picture, either from you or your wife. I go, oh, good Lord, Chris is there.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking to myself, how does Chris not get in a fight in that hostile? Of course, no one's going to want to bug you and everything.
Yeah.
But I mean, you just feel when you go into the Breslin, and you're a better man than me. I haven't been into the Breslin for a Michigan State basketball game. I'm thinking back. I'll tell you when you're going to be shocked by this.
My answer is better.
No, I mean, this is the last time I've been in that game, because I walked out there and said, I'm never freaking coming back to this place for a Michigan State game, because the hatred was so great.
Yeah.
1993.
Oh, okay. So you do have me beat then. Yeah.
Okay. That's C-Web.
Yep.
That's C-Web and Jalen.
Yep.
We're sophomores. You know, the 93 season, they lost at Carolina. We know all that.
Yep.
And I'm going to tell you something. I just said to myself, this isn't fun coming in here. And Michigan won the game.
Mm-hmm.
And I had great seats, my boss, great seats. And I'm not obnoxious and anything. And everybody was kind of cool. But I heard from they had this, it wasn't the Izzo, it was called Judge Jungle.
Mm-hmm.
And listen, I know about the Jalen thing. This is where he wiped his butt on the floor.
Yeah.
But I heard racial slurs there that took me back to the 60s.
Oh, I'm sure.
That was crazy. I said, you know what? This is no fun.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not coming back to this place. So you were there the other day.
Yeah. So the way it all came about is Friday night before the game, I'm looking on, StubHub and Ticketmaster and stuff like that, trying to find tickets. And the tickets were like $200 a seat to sit up in the bleachers, like in the upper.
Are you freaking kidding me?
And I was like, you know what? Screw it. I'm just going to sit on my couch and drink a beer and watch the game.
Yeah.
And then, I wake up Saturday morning, and all of a sudden about 11 o'clock or so, my buddy gives me a call, and he's like, see why you got to go to this game, man. I got a guy. He's got tickets. You're going. It's like, dude, I don't want to spend $200 a seat. He said, no, I got your great seats, $75 each, blah, 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 blah. Go. Okay, cool. So half hour later, me and my wife are walking out the door, and we walked over to the Breslin. So we meet this guy, get the tickets, and I'm looking at him like, oh, these are pretty good seats. And we start walking.
They were good. They were good seats from what.
Yeah, we got down to row 19. It couldn't have been any better seats. And to be honest, the guy sitting right next, I was on the aisle. The guy sitting right next to us was a Spartan fan, and he was obviously cheering. But right in front of us were Michigan fans. Behind us were Michigan fans. No one said a damn thing to me. And of course, I'm decked out in Michigan gear. My wife's decked out in Michigan gear. Yeah. No one even looked at us sideways. There was a ton of Michigan fans there. And I didn't hear anything that was overly negative. I mean, a lot of cheering and, booing when the refs made a call against State and stuff, but nothing that was out of line.
Well, I'm glad to hear that.
We were kicking our teeth in. Had it been a closer game, I think there'd have been some more animosity, but it wasn't a bad experience. But I mean, I hadn't been there for a Michigan State game since I was playing in one in 2002. I'd been to the Breslin one other time a few years ago to watch Michigan State play Minnesota or somebody, but I was up in the suite kind of by myself, with some people and blah, blah, blah. So this is the first time I came walking in like a quote unquote normal person and went to my seats and got my hot dog and the whole thing. And I didn't have a problem with it.
Good. I'm glad to hear that.
Sucked.
But
the atmosphere and everything was perfectly fine. Same like when I went to the Michigan State football game. Like I didn't have people bothering me. Like no one, like everyone was fine. Like when I was walking out of the football game, I had guys shaking my hand, older gentlemen that were shaking my hand saying, man, you guys played a good game. We got really lucky.
Yeah.
As opposed to,
I'll tell you what,
blah, blah, blah. So I didn't have any of that experience. So
okay, you're 6'10", and how much you weigh?
Enough. I weigh enough. Yeah.
Okay, you're a big dude.
I weigh enough that no one's going to
mess
mess with me. So, and then with the full beard now, I got the winter beard going. So, yeah, people don't typically mess with me. So, yeah.
All right. Well, okay. So let's kind of check that game off here with a quick analysis here. Because I'm on the plane and I was able to watch it in the first half on this app, and then when I I was connecting in Denver, and I just didn't get to see a lot of the second half, but when I saw the 4-point deficit, I said, "Oh, good Lord," because I've said this on other podcasts. I said going into that on Saturday morning, I said Michigan needs to be ahead by 12 at halftime to have a shot.
Yeah. Well, and Michigan played a very average first half. They made a lot of very, very stupid mistakes. I mean, Brandon Johns airballs a 3 on one end, and we go down and we foul a 3-pointer on a shot, and the guy makes a shot and makes a free throw. So that's a 7-point swing right there. So just we did a lot of stupid things like that. Hunter could not guard a ball screen the entire game. He got split every time, and every time he got split, it was either a dunk or a wide open 3 or a wide open jumper. So our defense and our defensive transition was just terrible. But the first half we were playing them tight, and the second half I think all of our guards stayed in the locker. Hunter played well in the second half. Musa Diabate played well in the second half. He played well the whole game, but he really kind of turned it on. He was really pounding the offensive glass in the second half. But the rest of the guys, I mean, even Eli Brooks looked kind of lost out.
Eli looked disheveled. I watched it and I DVR'd it. I handled that one. I mean, I hate losing to Michigan State in the worst way, but I mean, Michigan State's a good team. But I'm telling you what. So on Tuesday night, I go down, and I assume you were watching on TV.
Yeah.
The crowd, it was meager. It was I call it the perfect storm for a shitty crowd.
Yep.
9:00 on a Tuesday night, you're coming off a loss to Michigan State, and you're playing the worst team in the Big Ten by far.
Exactly. Yes.
With this, and you got a storm that's brewing. Okay. And the ones that showed up were locked in. We had a great time, as we all, where we hang out.
Of course.
And but I'm telling you what, the 10-point deficit, then the 7-point lead, then another deficit, and I am baffled how Michigan defensively can't handle high ball screens. This is crazy. I mean, remember we were bitching about the Minnesota game, how they got all those points with 0, like 1 assist, pretty much the whole game.
0 assists,
okay. Okay, so you don't need, it doesn't have to go off the dribble drive. I mean, the guy's going to the rack, and what is it with this defense?
It's when I was playing professionally overseas, that's always what I had always done. I'd always hedged. I'd always hedged on ball screens in college. And then my first 6 or 7 years overseas, I always hedged. And for people out there that don't know what hedging is, it's a ball screen and the big slides all the way out.
Yeah.
It tries to stop the guy from going in the direction. The guard slides underneath and gets back, and then the big recovers.
Yeah, that's what a hedge is. Yeah.
That's what a hedge is.
Okay.
Well, Hunter Dickinson doesn't like to hedge.
No, he doesn't.
Diabate likes to, but he over hedges and then gets split. So our two bigs don't really know what they're doing on ball screens.
Well, I'll tell you what, with Hunter, and Hunter had a good game. He had 5 minutes of action the first half.
Yep.
And that's the Michigan rule. If you get 2 fouls, you're sitting your ass down until halftime. Yep. That's a beeline spillover to Juwan. But this is another of these observations. Sometimes I was telling my buddy, I go, God, he looks slow. He looks slow at times. I mean, he's got great hit. I mean, he's good in the pivot. I think, the NBA scouts told him he has to develop that 3-pointer beyond the arc deal. And he hits a couple.
Yeah.
The team is horrible beyond the 3. And we'll talk about that in a second. But it's like, is Hunter going to be that good of an NBA player?
I see him being a solid backup to somebody because he's 7'1". He's going to come in and block a couple shots and get a couple rebounds, but he can't create his own shot. The days of Shaq of dropping the ball into the post and guys those don't exist.
He's got to hit the 3. He's got to hit the 3.
Look at Joel Embiid. Joel Embiid is 7', 7'1".
Yeah,
and he catches the ball at the 3-point line. He'll either knock down the 3-point shot or pump fake and go to the bucket. Same with Jokic. Same with all these guys that are that big. You look at someone with a skill set as diverse as Luka Garza, and he barely gets drafted at all.
Yeah.
And his skill set is a lot higher than Hunter Dickinson's.
Well, it's like the trailing three he could hit, but this is like, man, I remember Teskey. He started shooting threes. His last year.
Yep.
And it's like, I mean, you knew in his mind. I mean, he's trying to, he's got to bring something to the table if he wants to play the. Unless go internet. You played international ball. You could. That's a nice route to go, and these guys could do that. Maybe that's what Hunter ends up doing. But it's, I mean, as good as he played, and he played well, I thought, on Tuesday night for him. But it's just optically, I look at him sometimes, and then I'm trying to envision what's going to happen when they go to Mackey Arena on Saturday.
Oh God.
And he's going against a 7'4" dude.
Who's bigger than him, who's
Zach
just as strong
Ivey,
as him. That is not going to get pushed around. That's going to push him around, and how is he going to respond?
Right.
Because he, like you said, he's kind of slow of foot on the ball screen, so they're going to put him in every ball screen situation. He's going to be trying to guard, everybody coming off the dribble, and it's just not a good situation for him. He doesn't want to do
Zach Edey's that big guy.
He's a monster. I mean, he's one of the biggest humans I've ever seen. I mean, he is huge.
Travion
and
Williams,
he's talented. He can shoot the ball. He can shoot free throws. He's got good touch around the rim. I think he's a hell of a player.
Well, then not to get focus on Purdue, because I cringe at the thought of what that's going to be like. I mean, and we're going to go through the schedule in a second, and we're going to kind of hold white knuckle treatment as we go through it. Yeah. But Jaden Ivey, the point guard, who hit that. Who hit the game winner against when was it the other? I guess they had a big win the other night. Purdue did early in the week. That came right down to the wire.
Right in the corner. Yeah, I remember watching. I can't remember who he hit it against, but he just kind of nice and easy and got to his spot and knocked it down. And was it Indiana? Who was it? I don't remember who it was. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm trying to think of who. It's all a blur to me.
I watched so many games.
The snow and the cold's got to my. Cut to my head. Maybe it was Illinois. I don't know. I can't remember. But
I mean, he's a problem matchup for us, like he is for everybody in the country.
I mean, it's like
he's gonna run 40 ball screen sets on Saturday. Everything's going to be a ball screen.
Right.
I mean, why would you not? When you see what we're doing against ball screens, there's no reason not to put Hunter and Musa and then Brandon Johns and whoever else into a ball screen situation. Because all you have to do is get past that first level, and everything's wide open.
Okay. So let's get into this daunting task. You're sitting here right now. Michigan, what are they? 5-4. 5-4 in Big Ten play. 11-8 overall. I think their net it's not, and their strength of schedule is not horribly bad. Mm-hmm. I mean, if they start winning games, I mean, they got to obviously get back off the bubble and get in. Okay, but when you look at what's ahead, starting with Purdue at Mackey Arena, and that place, is that the toughest place to play? Do you think?
That's one of the toughest places to play.
Okay, because the crowd's engaged. Yeah, and they're close, and all that. Okay, and plus they're freaking good. They're 14th.
Yeah, they're really, really talented.
Okay, so they play. That's on Fox this Saturday at 2:30. Then they go to Penn State Tuesday night. Now, in normal scenario, we think, oh, there's a win, but shit, they got that big dude in the middle. I can't think of his name. Even though there's no fans.
It's a trap game. This is an absolute
that'll be a good win. Let me say that'll be a good. Let's give Michigan a win in that game.
Yeah, that's a game that they should win, but it's a trap game. That travel sucks. It's a tough place to go and play because there's nobody there. Yeah. So normally they should win that game. Okay, so I'm going to give Michigan a win at Penn State just because I don't have a lot to choose from here. Nor do you. Okay, there's not many options coming down the schedule.
So Purdue, the two Purdue games, the sandwich. It's like a shit sandwich.
That is a shit.
Purdue on Saturday.
Well, we're just lucky that it's Penn State in between, and it's not Illinois or Michigan State or something like that. They go from Purdue at home, but they get Purdue at home. Those are 2 L's. I mean, my friend, don't you think? And then Ohio State at home on the 12th. I think that's an L too. Don't you think? Ohio State. I mean, the only advantage is that Ohio State's supposed to be playing tonight against Iowa. That game is postponed, and I'm not sure one team or the other's in COVID protocol, so maybe they've got some issues like that going on. I'm not sure if it's them or if it's Iowa, so that might be the only saving grace for Michigan because, Ohio State is a goddamn good basketball team.
EJ Liddell, they got
EJ
some players.
Liddell is a problem. We don't have anybody that could even stay next to him, let alone stay in front of him. I mean, he's going to go out there. He's going to get 30 against us.
That's an L. So that's an L. And then at Iowa, that's an L. Don't you think? And Thursday?
Probably because Iowa's in the same position that we are. They are fighting for their tournament lives right now. They're trying to get in. They're trying to get these good quality wins.
And then Sunday at Wisconsin, I'm talking about Sunday the 20th. That's an L.
To Wisconsin. I think that Wisconsin game, I'm 99.9% sure that's an L.
Okay, so Rutgers at home is a W. I'm going to say Rutgers at home, and the 23rd is a W.
Should be a W.
Okay. Yeah. Illinois at home with Kofi Coburn, W. Michigan State at home, W. That's an L. I mean, Illinois.
That's a coin toss game. I mean, that Michigan State game. I think that's a coin toss.
Do you think we could beat Michigan State?
Oh yeah, for sure.
Okay, so Illinois is an L.
Mm-hmm.
I think Illinois is an L because of the matchup problem.
Oh yeah.
And then Michigan State, well, I throw that a W, and then Iowa a W, and then at Ohio State. I mean, they could get so let's go through these possibilities. They could get 4 more wins.
Yeah.
They could get 4 more wins.
Yeah.
So that's where I came up and that's beating Michigan State, which that's been fairly optimistic.
Yeah.
4 more wins. That's 9-11. That's 9-11. That ain't getting it done.
No.
For the tournament.
No,
because
you're securely on the bubble, and then they're going to look at quality of wins and all that kind of stuff, and they might luck up and get in because it's Michigan. But I mean, why would you want to hold your breath?
You'd have to make a hell of a run in Indianapolis.
Yeah, you got to get a couple of big wins at the Big Ten tournament.
But they're going to have to improve. So, what does Michigan have? If you had a magic wand, and you said that you were granted one aspect of Michigan's game that you could fix as the first priority.
Yep.
What would it be?
Ball screen defense.
And do you think that would have a huge? Yeah, that'd be a huge difference.
I would change it to you don't hedge on the ball screen. The guard forces the guy one way, and we used to call it blue. Some teams call it sideline, and you direct them to the sideline. You don't let the guard come to the middle, and the big stays back. It's what Phil Jackson used to do with Shaq and Kobe. You drop that big guy back. He just stands there and kind of slows him down. As the big guy rolls, you pick him up, and you're in position. You're always in position. You're always down there to rebound. You're always down there to help out. Where if you're out there hedging and you go a little too far and he splits you, well, now that everyone's going downhill and you're playing catch up from 35 feet away. And I can't tell you what a helpless feeling that is, hedging out too far, looking over your shoulder and being like, oh shit, I'm 35 feet away from a play that's going on over here. I got no chance of doing anything. I'm just hoping for a long rebound that comes back because I'm trying to sprint to get back into the play.
Yeah.
And Hunter's shown and Moose has shown that they don't want to, really defend a ball screen. Change it up. That would be my crystal ball if I could change anything.
Okay.
Because that would help them against Illinois. That would help them against Purdue. That would help them against all these teams that have got these big guys and these talented guards.
Okay. Do you remember that coach we had Michigan had Luke Yaklich, was it?
Yep.
Okay. Yep. Was he like a defensive coordinator type of guy 100%. For basketball? Okay.
100%. Yes.
So what do they need? Where's the D? I mean, who's coaching the D? And is there a D emphasis? Is there an assignment you're coaching D, or is it just bigs? I know size.
I think it's just bigs, and it's a general concept. Where when Yaklich was here, I mean, he wasn't the defensive coordinator like they have in football, but he was the defensive coach.
Yeah, I mean, it seemed like
he analyzed all the games, and he would adjust the style of defense that they played per team and per guy.
Yeah.
And you could see, this guy's coming, we're doing this on the ball screen, or this guy's coming and we're doing this. And they change it for everybody. Now it's just, someone's coming off a screen and we're hedging because that's what we do. And, there's a lot of other things that they're trying to fix. So I can kind of understand why that hasn't been a big point of emphasis. But after watching what Nebraska did to them and then Michigan State did to them and going on and on with the ball screens.
Northwestern.
I mean, you got to change it up a little bit.
Well, I think they're in desperation mode right now, and in terms of that. Now, the other element that besides that, and this is being Captain Obvious here, is that perimeter shooting. And I was telling other couple podcasts I was craving about what in 2018 all those shooters we had with Jordan Poole and Duncan Robinson and Isaiah Livers and Mo Wagner from the pivot, and all that great shooting. And where three balls, Michigan was getting 8 to 12 to 14 a game. Okay. This is a two or three sometimes only beyond the arc makes. Michigan State had 6 more threes. Well, that's 18 point the difference. I mean, who's going to be that guy before we close this out? Who's that guy? Chris Young?
I mean, that's the thing. It can be anybody. with the exception of Musa and Hunter, it can be any of our guards. I mean, they've all shown now that they can all shoot.
I've never seen anybody. I mean, Caleb Houston, yeah, maybe.
I mean, he went on a good run last week. I mean, he was shooting the ball very, very well, and now all of a sudden he's kind of back doing what he was doing before. Terrence Williams comes in and he goes on a tear, and then all of a sudden he disappears again. They're all capable. We all know Kobe Buffkin can shoot. Frankie Collins, we're still not decided if he can shoot. Devontae Jones, he shoots, and we don't know what the hell's going to happen. So they're all capable. But, going back to Beeline, I always said when Coach B was a coach is that if Michigan makes, under 12 3-pointers a game, they're going to lose. And if they make over 3, or if they make over 12 threes, they'd win. And if you look back at his, if you look back at his tenure, that's how it always was. Because they were shooting 28 to 30 per game.
Well, yeah, because they fired so many of them. So I understand that.
Yeah. So even if you extrapolate, if you double the number, so we were 4 for 30 in a Beeline style system.
Yeah.
It's just we got to figure out how to take better shots and make the shots that we get. I mean, when we get an open shot, you got to make these wide open shots.
Yeah.
It's just killing us because we're getting open looks. And, I mean, teams aren't even closing out. Kobe Buffkin is a good shooter, and teams aren't even closing out on him.
Well, he's missing open looks.
Yeah, because
I don't know if he's just steering the ball.
If I was a guard guarding him, and I knew he's shooting 12% or whatever he is on the season, I'm not running out there. Screw him, let him shoot.
I mean, hell, Charles Matthews doing shot better for the perimeter than he does.
Yep.
And he was a defensive specialist. So,
exactly.
Yep.
So everyone's capable. They just, I mean, if Eli Brooks and, the older guys haven't gotten in people's faces yet and be like, man, this is it. Like, if we don't put something together in the next 2 weeks, we're going to the NIT at best. And
at best.
That's it.
Yeah, this could be like the 14-15 season in sub 500. So see why you bring it. You never fail me. We'll go early next week. We got a lot of games, so we might be doing a couple of them if you're available. We got a lot of games to make up.
Oh, my God.
A lot of breakdowns. I'd rather do it a little bit at a time. And let's see how that Purdue game goes. We'll either connect on Sunday or Monday of next week. See why.
Yeah, let's do it.
All right. Good job.
All right.
Till
thanks,
next time.
All right.